Good evening, friends, fans, family, and followers to Last Call, Frater Crow's life experiences. I am Reverend Frater Crow of the Coterie of Samil Arcana Called Order, Celestial Oddities Radio and all of its shows, and the Celestial Oddities Paraseekers Paranormal Research Group. If you are listening tonight, I ask that you click the like, share, follow, and subscribe buttons on whatever platforms you're tuning in from, mainly on different Facebook live streams and YouTube under the Knights of the Nephilim YouTube page. You can find not only this podcast, but you can find Uncovering the Underground, interviewing great underground artists and bands, Knights of the Nephilim, talking with some of the best occultists in the world on esoteric doctrine and ritual, and Celestial Oddities Pong, Pair of Normal Guys podcast, where we deep dive into the supernatural and paranormal, from topics to special guests to call-in episodes. On Celestial Oddities Radio, we aim to please you with underground entertainment. So if you haven't checked out some of our past seasons, past shows, feel free to do so on the Knights of the Nephilim YouTube page. Check out and like and share our Facebook group pages. That would mean a lot. So this show here, Last Call, was something I'm just doing as a once a week, once every other week show where we can all just kind of hang out. You guys can ask questions. We can bullshit with each other a little bit and stick to one specific story of experience that I've had that's kind of out of the off the wall, far left, crazy shit. So that's kind of what we made this, because my other shows are very serious. I have 3 different shows, as mentioned prior, and they're all very deep diving into things, whereas this is just a calm, relaxing environment to everybody to get together, to have a drink, just chill and talk a little bit. So if you're out there, feel free to leave a comment on whatever platform you're tuning in from. I will see it over here on the chat stream. I will air your comments online, flash them across the screen. We will, read them off and talk to you about it. So if you have any questions or anything you want me to deep dive into or just talk about in general, feel free to jump in and do so. We do want to thank all of our listeners and viewers out there for their support each and every week for everything we do here. It means a lot, and it's great to be back with you for another evening, because it's fun to do these. Like I said, it's nice to have a stress-free show and just chill, let loose a little bit. We can all use that, especially a Thursday night. For some of us, tomorrow's our last day of the week for work. Some it's not, and I apologize, but it's nice to wrap out the week here. And we'll give it a few minutes before we jump into tonight's topic, which is Lost City of What the... So we'll jump into that. It's a pretty wild story. In fact, it is one of the most bizarre and still mind-boggling experiences that I've personally ever had. And that's amongst a lot of different weird things that have happened. So it's a pretty good one. It means a lot to me, this story, this event, this happening. Let's go ahead and pull up the chat stream, make sure we have that active. Perfect. Okay, yep, everything is good to go. So drinking on some Jack Daniels tonight. Every week, every show, I usually drink something different or have some type of drink, and tonight is some Jack Daniels. Okay. So, like I said, you guys have any questions, feel free to drop something. I'm just hanging out. Been a long week. I'm glad it's Fridays tomorrow. I'm tired. Tomorrow going to a Darkest Hour concert. I'm extremely excited about that. It's one of my favorite bands. Seen them many times over the years. They're coming to Preserving Underground in New Kensington. Going to be a great show. And I look forward to going there and hanging out, with a buddy of mine, Daniel, who's co-host of my show, Celestial Oddities Paranormal Guys podcast. We're going to, hook up tomorrow night and go to this concert, so it'll be a good time. Hopefully everybody else got something fun planned for the weekend. I know I've been looking forward to that one for a while now. One thing I noticed recently, my reach on my posts have been dwindling heavily, where normally I post and get quite a bit of reaction. Lately I've been posting and no one sees it. I mean, there's some posts that literally no one sees it. It's interesting. I don't know why that is, or why my algorithms have been kind of whacked with lately or messed with, but that is the case. Maybe you guys have been experiencing that too. There's posts I put up that were good, and 3 days later, there's no likes on it, no views on it, there's nothing. It's just hidden. This music's whacked out. You have different choices. I've talked about this in the past. But you have different choices to put as the background music of the dashboard. And I got atmospheric, and it's like I feel like I'm inside a movie, like in a really dramatic scene. Hello, Laura. Thank you for tuning in. As you can see, folks, if you leave a comment from the platform you're checking in from or tuning in from, we can throw that up on the stage. We'll read that off. We will interact with you. So if you're watching out there, leave some comments. I always like to see a flood of comments, even though sometimes I can't keep up with them because you're trying to read that and host at the same time. So welcome. So like I said, tonight's episode is a story about discovering a town, and it can only be described as a ghost town, a true ghost town. And I know that sounds crazy. I have had a lot of paranormal experiences, and this is something beyond anything I've ever experienced before. There's no explaining it. It led into a huge chapter of my life later down the road. So it is an interesting story. And I give it another couple minutes, and we're going to go ahead and jump into that. Probably about 12 after the hour. It's 9:08 right now. When the whiskey's going down smooth, you know it's going to be a wild time. So, last episode, if you missed it, we talked about... What did we talk about last episode? I just mixed it up. I was thinking last episode was the possession, but that was 2 episodes ago. We did, I think this is episode 5 or 6 now of this series. But we have done 2 different possession cases that have happened. We have talked about catching a guy jerking off on a park bench while I was trying to go fishing, broad daylight in the middle of fucking public, and how that whole story went down. Next up, I think we're going to talk about Porta Potty Beatdown will be the next episode. I believe so. If you guys missed it, the other night I did a episode on Azario Flame's podcast. It's called Mystic Flame Podcast on his Patreon. So if you haven't, check that out. He had me on his show and interviewed me. It was a very deep discussion. We talked for about an hour and 40 minutes. Really great topics and discussion, like I said. So check that out on Azario Flame's podcast, Mystic Flame, on his Patreon. Really good time. Shout out to him for having me on the show. So I'm still waiting for someone to tell me what they got going on tonight. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into it. It's about 10 after. We'll just go ahead and get started. So whenever I was younger, I mean, even still, but when I was younger, I liked to go exploring, hiking through the woods, sneaking into old abandoned buildings and factories, just places we shouldn't probably go. We loved getting into, we loved checking out, we loved exploring and being adventurous. And I got nothing but some mac and cheese bites and THC enhanced mind. There you go, brother. I dig it. Thank you for tuning in. So we would go exploring, and a good buddy of mine hung out every day, best friend when we were young, from the ages of about 12 to 15. We were inseparable, and we would go in the woods all the time and explore, and back then partied, so we would smoke, we'd be drinking, sometimes just hiking and looking for things and picking different mushrooms and thinking how cool mushrooms are. We're always fascinated with mycology. We used to go across the river. I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania, a very small population right along the river and the railroad tracks. Used to be the original location for PPG glass factory was, where I grew up. And then that left the town. We had a toilet factory there and that left the town. And then it just kind of started to dwindle away. But when we were younger, we lived right along the river. And right across the river, there was another set of train tracks that led for miles into the neighboring towns down the river. And we used to go over and hike along those train tracks. We'd find dead deer and bones and skulls and all this fun stuff as kids. Think it's awesome. And we used to hike up into those mountains. There'd be waterfalls and just a lot of fun things to discover. And we were walking one day. I would say we were roughly 14, 15 at the time. And we had come across the top of this hill. And as we're hiking through, just a regular day like any other day, we explored over there. And we'd been over there numerous times and explored those woods. But this time, as we got to the top of this hill that I don't think we'd ever been to before, one of us happened to look over and notice that it looked like a little cabin or a house on the hill. And we're kind of paying attention to it. We walked a little and looked, and it came out to a clearing. And in that clearing was like a row of trees the whole way around it, this big open meadow area, but surrounded by trees and forest. And in this field, in this flattened out area, was roughly 12 to 15 little cabin houses, little house on the prairie type cabins. And this blew our mind because we never heard of this. We'd never seen it before. We'd never heard anybody talk about it before. We just out of nowhere in the middle of the woods discovered this little town of really old looking cabins, really old looking little type of hutches. And that's like, our dream come true right there. That's like, oh man, we can explore all these little places. And we found this cool place that no one knows about. We never heard about. But what was interesting is I said to my buddy, do you want to go down and check out this town? And right away, he's like, nah, I'm cool. And I kind of got thrown off by that. And I was like, you don't want to go check it out? No, I'm cool, man. I says, why? He's like, I don't know. I'm just good, man. I don't want to. And I could tell he was weirded out. So I was going to go. I didn't tell him this. I started thinking in my mind, well, I'm going to go without him. And as I was getting ready to tell him, all right, I'm heading down there, I was staring at the town and I froze up and was like, yeah, why don't we, we'll come back another time. We'll leave this place, for now. We'll come back to and check it out. Why? Something diverted us. This is something we would always go down and check out. That, like I said, that's our dream, to discover these cool little buildings and get to explore them, see what goodies are inside, and just check things out. And we both were afraid. And I'm talking of fear. I remember my fear of wanting to go down and check this place out, but something just stopped me. No, something's wrong. Don't go down there. So what's interesting about this story, and sorry, I'm trying to read the comments at the same time. My mic is muffled. Oh, that's weird. Do I sound any better now? Didn't touch it. Want to make sure it sounds good before I tell the rest of the story. Thank you for letting me know. I haven't heard anything back. If I still sound okay, guys, let me know. I don't want to be, it's something's wrong with the connection. I want to make sure it's fixed. I'm trying to check all the cords right now. Looks like it's good on all the boards. Just plug it back in. There we go. Well, either way, I'll go ahead and pick back up. So we found this town. Both of us were very hesitant to want to go down there. Something was pushing us away not to check it out. We left. Now, what was really interesting is once we left, we couldn't stop talking about the town. And, we each said to each other, like, why didn't we go down and check this town out? I don't know, man. I don't know. Why didn't you want to go down and check it? I don't know. We did this for several days and decided, okay, we need to go back and find this town because we could not understand why we wouldn't have went down there. And we went back time and time again and wasn't able to find it. We asked people that lived around the area. No one had ever seen or heard of it and didn't believe us. So we finally one day got where I thought it was. And this is what's really fucking peculiar, guys. If that wasn't already enough. One of the things I want to mention is across the river, we knew what town was there, like in the distance, and we knew it was all woods. There was nothing ever talked about with a little village. So we'd asked around, no one heard anything. We looked for it several times, couldn't find it, didn't know why we didn't go down there. And then one day we thought we were where it was, and we're hiking up this hill, and we're excited because we're like, I think we're going to find it again. We get to the top of the hill, it was not there. Looked like the same landscape, right? The same type of drop down to a valley. The valley wasn't there. It was all trees, and the town wasn't there. There was no cabins, nothing. And we were dumbfounded because we swore we found it. On the way out, we hear in the distance a guy yelling, and he says, "Get off my land." And we turn around and we seen him. He's carrying a shotgun. And we were kind of like, oh shit. And he's like, "You boys get off my land." And I says, "Well, I'm really sorry, sir. We were just hiking through the woods. Didn't mean to come onto your land. We didn't see any posted signs." He says, "There's posted signs all along there." And he pointed down towards the tracks, which would have been about a half a mile down over this hill, through the thick of it. And he's like, "There's signs all over the place down there." But we didn't see any signs on the way in. So "Sorry, sir, we'll get off your land right now." He was cool about it, but he could tell he was forceful and he wanted us to fuck out of there. But he wasn't necessarily rude, kind of threatening because he's carrying a gun and he's pissed. Now, the crazy part about the story, or this part of the story, is on the way out, we turn around and we said, "Goodbye, we're leaving." On the way out, as we get further down the hill, he yells out, "Tell your brother Jake I said hi." My oldest brother, I have two brothers. His name's Jake. I don't know who this guy is. I'd never seen this guy. He's in the place I swore was where we'd seen this town and couldn't find it again. We don't know why we couldn't go down to the town. And here's this guy that comes out of nowhere with a gun in his hand telling us, "Get off my land," kind of throwing us off a little bit. We're leaving. He says, "Make sure you tell your brother Jake I said hi." And when I turned around, I said, "Excuse me?" He didn't answer, and I says, "Did you say my brother Jake?" Didn't answer, and he had to have heard me. He just kept walking up over the hill until we lost sight of one another. We were going down, he was going up, we were gone. Now, that's kind of weird, right? Okay, what was this town? Something that someone doesn't want anybody to find. No one knows about it. So this stuck with us for a while, and eventually we just forgot about it. Continued our life. We had school. We were, chasing girls. We were doing this and that, and just the lost town, seemed to fade from our memory. Right? Years went by. I'm talking like almost 15 years, and then one night, out of nowhere, I have one of the most realistic dreams. You could even call it, lucid dreaming. I was awake within the dream, and I was moving, and I was right back there at the top of that hill, walking down into that town. Now, I hadn't thought about this place in, like I said, almost 15 years. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, it's in my dream. It's one of the most realistic dreams ever. I could feel things, I could hear things, I could smell things. I am in those woods. And I go down into the woods, and I have a dread and a fear, just like I did the first time I seen it, like unexplainable terror. And I go down in, and all of a sudden I wake up when I'm in the middle of the town looking around at the different cabins. Black darkened woods, middle of the night, no lights on in the cabins. There's I guess what you could call torches in the distance, some type of luminescence coming from the outskirts of the wood around the town. And then I just woke up. When I woke up like panic attack woke up, which I don't do. I woke up breathing heavy, sweating, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And it hit me instantly as my memory and my thoughts started coming to me. The town 15 years ago. What is interesting about this is I've told stories about the possessions before. I've told story about my occultism when I was younger, and then I stepped back after my first successful ritual, which also kind of was a failure in a way, and took time to study. Well, I studied for years, and then for several years, I really didn't do a whole lot. I was studied. I had done ritual many times. I took a break and just kind of went on hiatus. Still would read here and there, but it was like I kind of disappeared from the occult life for a while. And with the advent of this dream, with this happening, the next day I woke up and I was just so hungry for occult knowledge again, like I hadn't felt in years, and voraciously started to read and read and read and read and practice and call all these different beings that I'd worked with, hadn't worked with at that time, but I started to work with. And it was like a spark to the fire again, but I don't know why, or at least I didn't at that time. Just this random dream of this unexplainable happening, sparking my passion and studying again and getting into ritual. And then I started having dreams, subsequent dreams later on, like 2.5 years later. And it started to tell me this story. And within my dreams, I was remembering, it was like dreams, but it was dreams where I was remembering the past life regressions. And I started to have them during meditation as well, and deep meditation sessions. And it started to piece together what the town was, which was a town from another life. And a lot of things happened in that town that are personal to my history. But this story is crazy because I discovered this town with a buddy. Now, what's interesting about this, you're good now. Okay. I'm alone right now. Why do I get myself all freaked out? I don't know what to tell you. What's crazy, so I reached out to my buddy after all this happened. This was when I first woke up from that dream, and it like sparked me back into occultism. Before I jumped heavily back into it, just woke up and was like, holy shit. I decided to reach out to my buddy that I hadn't talked to in years, and said, hey man, how you doing? Caught up for a couple of minutes. And I said, hey, I have to ask you something. He said, what's that? I said, you remember when we were like 14 or 15 years old and we were hiking through the woods on the other side of the river along the train tracks? We went up over a couple hills and we found this little town in a clearing, about 12 to 15 homes, little house on the prairie style houses. And we both froze up and we were scared and we didn't go down and we didn't know why. You know, explaining the story I just told you guys, pretty much an overview, thinking he was going to jump right in. Oh yeah, had to give him a little bit of remembering, but didn't think it would take much, right? He says, bro, what are you talking about? And I said, what do you mean, man? I was like, remember the time? And this happened. This isn't like a fantasy of mine. This for sure happened. And I'm trying to remind him. And he's like, bro, that wasn't me. And I'm like, no, dude, it was you, because we went back again. And I'm explaining all this stuff to him. No, man, that never happened. And I'm just sitting back at that point floored. Like, you know, it's just something as real as like what you did at work yesterday. You know what I mean? You know for a fact you did it, and someone's telling you, no, that never happened, man. And it starts to play with your reality and your understanding and perception. And I'm like, no, it did happen, bro. No, it didn't. So then it really made me to start to dig. And then, like I said, I started having those dreams afterwards that connected that town to a life long, long ago. And then started having all these stages of awakening, where I started waking up to pieces of understanding from past lives and just in general, seeing the world at different frequencies. And it's been an insane trip since, but I really give all the credit to my occult knowledge and studies and practice to this event that happened before I started really practicing occultism, 20, what would it be now? 20 plus years ago. To it re-sparking it in a dream and getting me back into it. Both times was a primer into getting me into the esoteric, but I've never been able to figure out how I was able to witness that with another person. They had a shared experience in that time. And then for some reason, as time went on, it faded. I want you guys to think of Stephen King's It, especially in the remake, where they really stressed the fact that after they left Derry, their memory became foggy and they really forgot everything. It wasn't until they came back that it started hitting them. Well, that's how I felt when I found the town, that it sparked something in me and changed me, like I was remembering again, like I came home to Derry. And then as we kind of went away from it, stopped looking for it, it faded. But I still remembered, and it came back 15 years later. For my buddy, it didn't come back at all, almost like I need to take him there again so he experiences it. But he lost it. It's gone. I'm the only person that knows about seeing this. It's like something that he thinks I'm crazy for, but I know for a fucking fact happened. Hey Eddie, how you doing, brother? What's up, bro? How you been? I'm doing good, man. Just hanging out with everybody, having some drinks, talking some good shop, and enjoying life, brother. Hope you're doing good as well. Seeing you're taking a little break for a while. Nothing wrong with that, man. Sometimes you got to refuel the tank. You burn out. I've been there many times over my life, especially doing radio and a team and my cult and everything else I do. From time to time, you need to just step aside, recharge the tank, and then come back at it. Don't burn yourself out because it's hard to come back if you fully burn out. So, any thoughts you guys have on the town? I'd love to hear it. But what's even more crazy about it is not the fact that all that happened. It's the fact that then it started really connecting to me from another life. So I'm like, holy shit, this bleed through is something of me. Somehow, us finding that had something to do with me at that time. But he was able to share in that, and then it left him. And that's the part that just like, that's all you can do, man. You take time off, you recharge, because when you take time off, you don't lose what you know. You don't lose your knowledge, your wisdom, or your passion necessarily. You recharge that. You come back fresh. So you're picking right back up where you left off. So when you come back at it, you do come back stronger because you have all of those amazing attributes of what you had, leaving behind the shit that you don't need. You refine and then come back at it, ready to kill, man. That's how it should be. I wish you nothing but the best, man. You're a great dude. God damn, this fucking drink's going down good tonight. It's trouble. I gotta work in the morning. Hang out with you fucking crazy bastards. I'll be on the floor later. Really excited. We got a trip coming up to New York. Hinsdale House, followed by Wildwood Sanatorium. A smaller portion of my paranormal group is going together. It should be a good time. I've never been to Hinsdale, always wanted to be. I have been to Wildwood. I spent 2.5 days there 3 years ago by myself. Got there Friday afternoon, left Sunday afternoon. Great time. Had some wild experiences there. So I'm looking forward to taking the group for the first time there, and then seeing Hinsdale House myself. Seeing some of the cryptids that sneak out of the woods. I got a comment here. It says, your deception or description, I think, I spelled a little funny. Your description of the town you grew up in sounds just like my hometown and what me and my friends were doing. We never found Ghost Town, though. Yeah, I mean, that's all we did, man. I mean, there's an old abandoned house across town. We snuck into that shit, whether we were partying or just hanging out. A lot of times me and him would just sneak in and check stuff out. We didn't steal stuff. But we would go in and there's old kind of boxes from the old family. We would go through them and check out all this cool stuff that we found. We would go into old factories and open crates up and look at stuff. Now, some of that was dumb because we were coming across chemicals and all kinds of shit in old factories, but we were kids. That's what kids do, you know? Got a comment here that says, I don't know if it's just me having the heebie-jeebies or if that story triggered something in my place. Yeah. And then I got a comment here that says, have fun, bro. Both locations are amazing. Yeah, man, they're really going to be fun. Like I said, taking the group. It was fun going alone to Wildwood, but it's nice to have people to talk to throughout the weekend. Spending 50 hours completely by yourself in a paranormal location, turning off your cell phone, only doing it. I check in with my wife 3 or 4 times throughout the weekend, and that's it. Phone off the whole time. So 50 hours of sitting by myself. It is nice, but it gets old. So taking them guys would be a good time. But yeah, it was a creepy story, Laura. I don't know. What's really interesting is that led to, after waking up from that dream and then getting back into practicing, led to opening up other channels and doors. And I found out how I got the name Frater Crow. See, that's funny because most people think Frater Crow is something I named myself in this life because there's like a fad going on in the occult world. I'm Frater this and I'm Frater that and I am Soar this and Soar that. No, it didn't come from any Golden Dawn type thing. It came from being called that in a vision. I had a past life regression and I watched a very vivid scene as if I was the fly on the wall. And I was killed in that vision and they called me Frater Crow. And when I came to, it just felt so right. I'm like, holy fuck, Frater Crow or Frater Crow. I'm going to start using that as my moniker, as my name in occultism. And I did that several years ago, but the vision was wild. And what's really interesting about that is for about 2 months leading up to that vision, crows followed me everywhere. I would walk out front of my house in the morning to go to work, and there'd be 20 or 30 crows in my front yard and on my power lines. I would drive to work and open up the door in the parking lot, and there'd be crows all through it standing there watching me. And they weren't there. And all of a sudden, one day they were. And then they never left, and they were there every day, every day, every day, flying around my house, flying around my work. And I'm like, this is fucking weird. Like, what is going on here? Like, all these birds are following me. And then one day I was coming home from work. Well, let me jump back before that. One day I'm going to work and it's raining, and a crow followed me. Shit you not, followed my car. I stopped at this one stoplight, which is like 35 minutes from my house. I knew it kept following me at different areas, but when I stopped at this stoplight, it came down and landed on the stoplight in the rain. Birds don't usually fly much in the rain. This thing fucking was following me, and it sat there, and I'm watching it, and I'm just mind boggled, like, what is happening here? And then one day I'm coming home from work, and I watched just an abundance of them flying around this tree. So I stopped my car, and I'm looking across the street, and this entire pine tree is filled with crows. Well over 100 crows in one tree, which I've never seen anywhere ever. And it blew my fucking mind. And I think it was 2 or 3 nights after that happened that I had the dream of hearing my name is Frater Crow. And I came out of it. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And if you ask a lot of people that are close to me, crows still follow me. Not like that, but crows still do follow me. I'll go places and they land near us and they just come over to us, which could be random. But if you ask the people that know me, it's not. It's very strange. Ever think about visiting Skinwalker Ranch? I'd love to, Ryan. Thing is, there's a lot of shit that they pretty much have that shut down. You're not getting in there without special clearances and signing paperwork to never talk about it. Wow. Iced helped that little whiskey go down, burning. Oh, I'm gonna regret this later. I'm gonna have fucking heartburn like crazy. That's insane. Oh my god. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, there's been a lot of weird things that have followed and happened in my life, and a lot of people hear it, and it's like it sounds like a Hollywood movie. And I promise you, it's happened. Most of the time, has been witnessed by other people. The story of the town, unfortunately, was, but that person forgot it. But most of the time, if you ask with the paranormal stories and things, people have been there. And yeah, it was a weird series of things that happened. During that time, I had a vision of me as a little Middle Eastern boy in history, like way back. Like I was able to aerially view this town area down here, and I'm watching as I'm playing, and I knew I was me watching me, but I can't explain it. It's a really hard thing to try to explain to another person, but it was me running around watching me, or it was me watching me run around, I should say. And it just started a series of visions and things that have happened. I had a past life regression, or not a past life regression, but a traumatic experience that I regressed from earlier in this life, where I was being had a babysitter, and the babysitter and her teenage daughter molested me when I was a kid, and I didn't remember this. This all came out. I don't know. People hear that online and on the radio, and they're like, "What did he just say?" I have no problem admitting that, because there's no shame in admitting something bad has happened to you. Bad things happen to people, unfortunately. Hiding from it, acting like it didn't happen, pushing it down, that's not going to heal you. It's going to hurt you. So I didn't even know this happened to me. I had pushed it back and forgot about it. It's crazy how the human mind can work. And then through this dream and through all these subsequent things that happened, and I started getting back into my work again, and a lot of meditation, started unlocking all the shit that came to the surface, and I'm like, do you know about the original book from James O'Barr, The Crow? If you're talking The Crow like the movie, then yes. If it's that completely different book, then I don't. I'm not familiar with the author. I don't know who wrote the Crow as far as the movie The Crow. Do I mind sharing the rest of that story? I'm not sure which one you're talking about. If it's the babysitter one, I'd probably rather not. But yeah, unfortunately I remembered a bad traumatic experience that happened. And I think it's healing to face those things, to understand, say like, holy shit, how'd I forget that happened? What's going on? It's just like my buddy forgetting the town. Like, how does that just disappear from your mind? It's traumatic to him, I guess. Whatever he experienced was so beyond reality that when he's seen it, he didn't want to go down to it, and then it just blanked itself out because he was like, fuck that, some alien alien ghost town. I mean, there's not really much to explain. They played doctor. I was a little kid. They would tell me the time for doctor for your checkup. The same shit you see on movies and TV shows because they molded after real life experiences. Because how many people have played doctor with one another as kids, or weird shit's happened to them, and that's what happened to me. Is I remember that they would play doctor. Let's play doctor, and I would be the patient, and then they would make me take all my clothes off. And the babysitter, obviously, I was a little kid. I'm like 5, and she's 40. And then her teenage daughter. So it's wild to think back on. It's like, oh wow, I'm sure that did some fucking damage up here. I didn't even know. Went my whole life without even knowing it happened. And then when I remembered, I'm like, oh man, the fact that I repressed that, something snapped in there, But I always have said, I tell the truth, I keep it raw. I don't have any reason to hide anything that's embarrassing or shameful or unfiltered. How do we grow if we're not pushing boundaries? Eddie says, it's the originals which are very deep emotionally. The comics are crazy. Also, the original with Brandon is my favorite movie ever. Yeah, The Crow was a great movie. I mean, that came out when I was young. I remember my oldest brother, Jake, the one I mentioned in the story earlier. As far as that hunter saying, tell your brother Jake I said hi. And then the funny thing is, I asked my brother Jake about that. I'm like, do you know any guy that lives over there in that section of the woods? He's like, I don't know anybody over there. What the hell are you talking about? So it was just one of those things that I'm like, okay, that adds to the mystery. But no, he watched The Crow when I was a little kid. I had to have been like 7, 8, whatever year that came out. And I just blew my mind. What an amazing movie. And Brandon did a phenomenal job. And it's unfortunately he lost his life during that, because I think he would have went on to have one hell of a career. But he's gone down as a legend. I don't know what they're going to do with the remake. That'll be interesting. I'm not going to hate on it automatically because it's a remake, but some things are better left alone. Although I will say, guys, I watched It Part 1 and 2, the remake, in this past week, and they were pretty fucking good. I don't like remakes often. They nailed that. I thought they did a phenomenal job with that. But yeah, I never read the comics, Eddie. I know that they were really good from what people said. No, Laura, like I said, I'm an open book. I have nothing to hide. How can I expect you guys to trust me if I have things to hide? So you guys have any questions or concerns, anything you want to ask? That is my story on Lost City of What the Fuck. Just discovering it, forgetting it, dreaming of it, sparking a whole new life, changes in understandings and knowledge, understanding that I'm ancient. That's a weird thing I'll throw in there. We've been here time and time and time and time again, but how often do we remember it and remember dozens of those lives come together and converge into a timeline where you're like, holy shit, I remember, 500 years ago living. It's a fucking weird thing. But you don't remember it all. You only remember spackled pieces of it, flashes of different things that eventually will build a full story that you hope to someday put the puzzle together, but you don't know if you will. Ooh. Try to see if there's any other comments coming in. Give another little splash right there. Did I have any dreams of the bear? The bear? When did I talk about a bear? I must have said something I forgot I said. Mikey B, I do work tomorrow, brother, and as soon as I'm done, I'm going where you should be going, which is preserving the underground to see the Darkest Hour show, which is going to be fucking tits. Absolute titties. The last two shows we went to were good. This one will fucking smoke it. And I wish you could be there, man. I'm sad that you can't. I am working closer to that location tomorrow so that when I'm done, I can shoot over, change clothes, and fucking get it on. The Freaky Bear from the movie. Oh, oh yeah, that other movie. Yeah, that was a fucking cool bear. Annihilation. Laura suggested to me to watch Annihilation. I watched that in the past week. I watch a lot of horror movies, a lot. Like I watch like 50 horror movies a month. Figure that out on top of work and on top of everything else. I don't sleep ever. Um, Plus, I read a fucking ton, 50 books a year. I don't actually watch 50 horror movies a month, probably like 20. But I do read about 50 books a year. From the movie, The Freaky Bear. Yeah, in Annihilation, there's a bear scene. It's fucking. It'll do something to you, too. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, I'm just reading some of these comments. Yeah, Mikey B, it's a shame that you can't be there tomorrow, brother. Wish you could. Darkest Hour Live is phenomenal. This new album that they put out has some weird ass name I can't remember. They have a song called Into the Void. And if you haven't checked out the Into the Void by Darkest Hour off their new album, which came out about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, listen to it. It's a fucking hit. Mad God. I don't think I have seen that one yet. It doesn't ring a bell. Oh no, there is something cool, Laura, about that hideous thing. Like I want to fucking ride that thing like a fucking horse. I want to throw a saddle on it, ride that shit into battle. Here comes Frater Crow riding the fucking death bear into battle. I'll check out Mad God, Ryan. I'll have to look it up, see if I have it on Tubi or Prime or Netflix or whatever other 25 fucking streaming devices they have now. Do you remember when streaming first came out? It was great. You had Amazon Prime and Netflix, and you had everything in existence. And then they were like, here's Hulu, here's Tubi, and here's Peacock, and here's Disney Plus, and they just boom and boom and boom, and each one's $10, $12 a month or $8 a month, and now you have to have 28 fucking different TV service applications in order to have all the TV you once had on your cable box. The whole point of leaving the cable box was to be able to like simplify life, have it all at the touch of a button, and it was cheap. Now you look at it and have everything you would have had on your cable box, you pay twice as much as your cable box. You have to have all these different applications and technical devices, and it is the exact opposite of what we wanted to do with this whole fucking thing. Shudder has it. I need to get Shudder. It's weird that I watch as much horror as I do and I don't have Shudder, but I also have so many other devices, as I mentioned, that to take on another one's just unfathomable to me right now. My kids have all the kids stuff, and my wife has all the stuff she watches. I don't watch TV except horror movies. Like I watched all those horror movies a month, and that's it. I don't care to watch anything else. But I do want to check out Shudder because there's probably a lot of stuff I haven't seen on there. I'm picky on my horror, though. There's a lot of horror I like, and there's a lot of that I watch that I'm like, holy fuck, so bad. Started one the other day, and I don't remember the name, and I got 7 minutes in, and I had to turn it off. I just couldn't do it. The bear's voice traumatized the hell out of me. Said to my son, set that voice as my ringtone after the movie. He thought it was hilarious. Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, a wild one. I wasn't a fan of the movie that much. Beautiful scenery. Some really cool aspects of the movie. They did nothing wrong with the movie. They just could have taken it further. It was like rubbing me right to the point of like getting there and then just stopping. No, it doesn't do it for me. I'm happy. I'm on the journey, and then the journey just ends. No one's happy at that point. So that's how I kind of felt about Annihilation. I have not watched Antrim yet. I had to watch It 1 and 2, and it's like fucking 5.5 hours between the two movies. It was super long. But nothing will beat the original It. See, It came out, and when I watched that as a kid, that traumatized me. It like fucked my mind up. The movie had me edging, Mike. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like the whole time, I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm like, they're getting there. I'm feeling it. I feel what they're doing. I like the scenery. I like the storyline. They're building up nice. They can really take it there, you know. And then all limp palmed, just all soggy hand. Like when you shake someone's hand, like another guy's hand, and it's like fucking soggy like a fish, and it just hangs there. That's what I felt this movie was doing. Like I was going good, and then it went all sog hand on me, and I couldn't finish. Um, wasn't a fan. Get on with it. I mean, the ending was cool, like, but it was like typical, you know. And I'm not trying to ruin it for anybody, but like when the chick got out of the thing, I knew exactly how it was going to end, and it ended exactly like that. You know, it's one thing to guess a scene or two in a movie, like I know it's about to happen and it happens. That's understandable. But when you're guessing like part after part after part, it's like okay, fucking corny. No good writers anymore. It's hard to get a good writer. I have an accent, so I have writer. It's hard to get a good writer. It's not what I meant, you know. Oh, fuck. Ah. I'm sorry, guys. That's fucking smooth. So, anybody else want to chime in? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to ask? I have like ghost fans. They watch, but they don't interact. They're just voyeurs. They just want to stand in the corner and watch us get it on. Labyrinth. Labyrinth isn't like David Bowie. Let me tell you about the babe. What babe? The babe with the power. What power? The power of voodoo. Hoodoo? The babe. That Labyrinth? Oh, yeah, with David Bowie. Okay. It's a phenomenal movie. Weird as fuck. It's like that. The Dark Crystal, Willow, all those movies in that time period. Predator fucked with me. Saw it as a kid and loved everything until Predator took his mask off. Then I had to leave the room until I was like 8. So I loved it and terrified by it. Well, you know, it's funny that you say that, Ryan, because being as a kid, there's certain movies, certain TV shows, certain cartoons, certain books that are pivotal to your life growing up. Whether you know it or not, you think back on it, and there's a very big reminiscent staple there. Predator is one of them. Predator and Terminator 2. Or excuse me, Terminator 2 and 1. But I see two hit me first for some reason. I think I'd seen 2 before 1. And then when I went back and watched 1, it was like, whoa, like, okay. But Predator was one of those movies. Same thing with Road Warrior, Mad Max. Those movies stood out to me as something very special that, like, just as a kid, you see scenes that are like, mind blown. Like, my little brain wasn't ready to handle this, but now it's seen it, I'm different. And I felt like Predator did that. Like the scene when the Indian guy in Predator cuts his chest open with a knife, and he's like, "Fucking bring it." They gave me some like 7-year-old wood. Like I was like, "Fuck it, all right, dude, get it." He dies, but that's how you do it. That's a G right there. That guy didn't fucking show no fear. He just went for it. Yeah, Laura, it's a great movie, Labyrinth. It's definitely, definitely up there. Dark Crystal, though, for the win. Anybody ever seen Dark Crystal? We're gonna drink his essence. Hook him to the machine. And they like you're watching that thing, and they're like, like what a weird ass movie with puppets. Kind of weirded me out as a kid. Willow was another great one. Like I said, I loved Willow. My wife hates the movie Willow. Mikey B can respect some Willow. When you go to Hinsdale, try to communicate with the house itself. Come through to me as a female. Oh, bro, I'm gonna go all in at Hinsdale. I'm gonna fucking communicate with the house in the woods. I'm gonna get a little, and there's a small part of our group going. It's a very small circle, long weekend. We're gonna get into it, bro. It's gonna be nice. Dark Crystal is the fucking tits. They made a TV show out of it now. I watched 1 episode and I didn't watch any more of that. It's not that it was bad. It's just way different in my perspective of the movie. And I'm like, I'm cool. I'm just gonna remember the old ass movie with the puppets. The little witch lady with like the white curly hair. She was awesome. Legend, Tom Cruise. We were talking about Tim Curry and It earlier, how it haunted me as a kid. Legend, him as the devil. It's another one that, couldn't beat my meat at that time because I was too young, but you best believe if I could have, I would have. Fucking movie's a game changer. Really respected me some Tim Curry. It's a really big shame that he's going through all the health issues that he has right now. Patience, Willow. Courage, Willow. Yeah, Willow is fucking bomb, man. I loved Willow. Same thing with Conan the Barbarian with Schwarzenegger. I mean, that was one of those movies that, like, but there was a lot of those movies. You got to think, if you were my age, older, or maybe a couple years younger, if you're all within that range, we had the most amazing childhood. Rocky, Rambo, Terminator, Predator, Labyrinth, Legend, Dark Crystal. Like that's insane, man. Like all of these Conan, all these movies in the same time period. What was the movie? I'm going blank right now for some reason. Clash of the Titans. Another phenomenal movie. Groove City Con, Steel City Con. What are you trying to say to me? I'm trying to think of a movie. Can't remember the name. Something Groove, or Grove or Cove. And Mike said, so pissed I could get a pic of Leo standing next to the Warwick Davis at Steel City Con. Warwick Davis, Leprechaun. You hear that they're doing a remake of the Leprechaun, and it's going to have dude from Game of Thrones now, which makes sense. I mean, if we're looking at midgets, you have Warwick Davis killed it in all of his roles that he was in. And you have Dinklage killed it in Game of Thrones, best fucking show ever made. And he's going to be playing the Leprechaun coming up in a remake. Castle Rock by Stephen King. I read a lot of Stephen King. Right here, behind this partition, there's a big-ass bookshelf. You can't see it. And there is like 70 Stephen King books right there. I've read about half of them. The last one I stopped reading during was Tommyknockers, which was great. I just got sidetracked with all my occult shit, and I put it down and never picked it back up. But I have Dead Zone, I have Carrie, I have Christine, I have Pet Sematary, I have Needful Things, Mr. Mercedes, all of them right there in a bookshelf. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. Fucking mad genius. How you write that many books in your lifetime. Toxic Avenger too, Peter Dinklage. Oh, no way. Toxic Avenger is another one that weirded me out. Just like Paul, me and you were talking in one of your posts. Howard the Duck, and then Batteries Not Included, Johnny Five, and Short Circuit. All those movies are around the same time. So you have all these movies when we were kids that were fucking primo as far as like historic movies that you're going to remember forever. And a lot of the movies nowadays are trash. If you want to make box office hits, let's just make another superhero movie. You know what I mean? Garbage. I don't watch no fucking superhero movies. And all the horror movies that they make nowadays, most of them are just trash. They're just remakes of other things, or they're just stealing off other things. I like when someone has original idea and really blows someone's mind. I seen that they're making a Breaking Bad was a phenomenal show. The fact that they did spin-off movies and things, whatever. But now they're making a 2-hour AMC movie of Walter White after the shootout at the last episode. Why? I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure it will be good. But what the fuck would you do that for? I just don't understand it. It's like Dexter. I haven't watched the new season since it picked back up. The way it ended was perfect. And then you have to fuck it up by making a new season of it 7-8 years later. It doesn't make sense. A24, Sean, is great. A24 does great films. One of the best underground type. I don't want to call them underground, but one of the best, like, lesser big studios still killing movies. Johnny Five was a good movie. Both of them. Yeah, Short Circuit. Yeah, Short Circuit and Did you guys remember Batteries Not Included? It was a good movie. It was a weird movie, but it was a good movie. Howard the Duck. Yeah, new ideas. And that's the thing, is you have to come out with new ideas. I don't want to see the same shit done over and over and over again. It's like The Purge 19, Saw 47. Like, how many fucking Saw movies can there be? It's like the Fast and the Furious. Like, Fast and the Furious, there should have been 2 movies. There should have never been more than 2. But we're on number 10, going for like 29. Same thing with Saw. The first Saw blew my mind. The second Saw blew my mind. The third Saw, I'm like, okay, I get it. 4th, 5th. And then after the 5th, I never watched another one because I'm like, this is retarded. Same thing with Halloween. Halloween 1 and 2. Should have never been more than 2. Done with 2. I'm a big fan on fucking doing something original and ending it. Why do you think I quit music when I did? I reached my pinnacle. I was done. I had nothing else to say. Just finished it. I cried my eyes out when he got taken apart by the, yeah, it was a sad scene when he's like, no, and they take the robot apart. It's like, what are you doing to Johnny Five? Sean, you are old. You're like fucking Bible old. Like, you were around at the beginning. Hope you're doing good, brother. Thank you for tuning in. I love you, man. That guy right there, folks, I'm going to throw him back on the screen. This guy right here, I love. Great dude. We played a lot of shows together over the years. He's done a lot for me in my career in music. Always showed a big respect for Skippy Yickham and had me on a lot of different places. And I loved playing with Sean. It was always fun times. I love playing dive bars. I love playing close to the crowd, shoulder to shoulder. That's my type of show. I'd pick that over anything, any day. Saw 10? Yeah, they just came out with Saw 10. Saw X 10. I think they're making an 11th one coming up. Same thing Fast and Furious. They're making like fucking 13. It's ridiculous. Like, put it to bed, man. Be done with it. What's the point? I'm going to have one more drink, talk for a little bit longer. We're going to end this episode. I'm out of ice. Good time to call it. 5 fucking glasses of whiskey. I think I'm fucking good. I'm going to have a hard time getting up in the morning. Anything anybody else has to say? Sometimes I just don't want to go to bed. I stay on here with you. I'm like, does anybody have anything to fucking say? Come on, damn it. Like, I don't want to go to sleep right now. Gotta go to real life tomorrow. I don't want to go back to that. Sometimes you just need your escape. I guess you're better than Nexium. I have to take acid reflux every day. In the morning and at night, different stuff. If you are listening out there and you would like to buy me a coffee, you can do so by clicking on the QR code here and donating towards my coffee obsession. Excuse me. Your support is what gets me show to show, and your coffee gets me day to day. So buy now, right there. That was my commercial. You like it? Yeah, that's it. I just did a fucking infomercial. You like? I really want people to reach out to me. I'll sell products. I'll do it all. I'll be like, you see these socks? These are the warmest fucking socks you'll ever wear. And I'll go out in storms and shit and film like infomercial parts. You'll love it. What about the never... Oh, shit, Ryan. Okay, so I didn't even read the rest of the statement. Yeah, one of the movies I miss is The Never-Ending Story. That movie fucked with me. My brother Eric, who's my next brother up. I have Eric and then I have Jake. Eric was my next brother up, and he loved The Never-Ending Story. And remember as a kid watching it, not understanding the movie at all, not a fucking bit. I'm like, this dude's riding this giant white dragon, and all this weird stuff's happening, and there's this like angel chick, and but I loved it. I thought it was so great because it was so reminiscent of like Legend and some of the Willow and some of those other stories that are going on. Sell mushroom powder. I could. So Tom's saying sell mushroom powder. Sacred 7 mushroom powder is a game changer. You ever wake up in the morning and just wonder why bother? I don't feel like me anymore. Sacred 7 mushroom powder will put the pep back in your step. You'll wake up with a purpose. You'll get things done. The inspiration that you once lost, you will find again. That is with Sacred 7 mushroom powder. Buy it on Amazon today. If you get a subscription, we'll give you 10% off. There you go. There's my infomercial on Sacred 7. Folks, for real though, I take Sacred 7 every day. It's fucking dope. I love it. Heavy metal movie. Heavy metal, what's the green ball? The Narlock, or oh shit, does anybody know what the green ball in the heavy metal is called? The Narlock, or some crazy shit. Heavy metal was a game changer too. The magazine was awesome. As a kid, that blew my mind. I had a subscription to heavy metal. I'd read all these weird twisted cartoons and all this pornography in it, and I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome, yeah. My little pothead mind fucking loved it. Let's get back to Ryan here. What about the never-ending story? As a child, I was obsessed with the wild that served the nothing. It's just a great fucking movie. There's a lot of those movies had a lot of hidden meanings to the things in the movies. So if you go back and watch, there's a lot of occult and esoteric things that are within the movie that you're like, oh wow, okay. Like they're pumping it to us. They're programming us as a kid. The government's very much into our Hollywood movies, and they pump us certain agendas. So even when you think you're on the cutting edge of standing against the man, you're doing exactly what one of the sub-Ellies and faucets of the man wanted you to do. Falcor. Yeah, I liked Heavy Metal 1. Very, very good. Heavy Metal 2 was very fucking good too. Very different than Heavy Metal 1, but my dad was a big heavy metal fan. Shout out to Doogie. Here, this one's to you, dude. That's my dad, Doogie, Doug. Guy was still mosh pitting at fucking like 60 years old. He'd jump into mosh pits and fucking knock kids out. It was great. My buddies would be like, is that your dad? I'm like, yeah, it's my dad fucking knocking out a 15-year-old. Get it, old man. Oh, he literally just tuned. He liked it. He must be watching right now. That's awesome. Old man, if you hear me, I'm talking about you. Okay. Sorry, I was answering a comment there. South Park version of Heavy Metal is fantastic. I haven't seen that. I haven't watched South Park in a long time. I so wanted him when I was younger. I was obsessed with finding a dog that looked like him so bad, obviously. No dog. Wait, I'm not sure who we're talking about. You're obsessed with finding a dog that looked like my father? Damn. All right. Shit goes runs deep. She was obsessed with my father when I was a child, and she wanted a dog that looked like him. That's a feat right there. I'm just joking with you. I think she meant folklore or Falcor. Excuse me. I got a buzz at this point. Like I said, I'm deep on the sauce right now. I'm just hanging out because I ain't got shit else to do. I watched like 7 people just fucking stop watching right now. Boosh! Like we had enough of this guy. Oh, I'm getting fucking comments now from someone. What do we got here? All right. Well, probably about time to jump off here in a couple of minutes. Let's see if there's any last comments. Oh, that was the one I just read. Jeez, for fuck's sake, zip it. I'm just busting. I'm just busting your lips. Don't worry about it. I don't know. But anybody have any questions? Anything else? Oh, Doogie is watching. Doog, the old man. What's up, father? I don't know. I keep getting fucking messages from left and right, like comments. I don't know where they're coming from. Uh-oh. Watch out. Laura's coming for you. That's the original right there. He told me everything I know. Taught me everything I know. Alright. Okay. Well, like I said, I'll give it another 2 minutes and I'm out. It's time to go. It's 10:08. Zaddy. I'm ready to fuck some people up tomorrow night at the concert. For anybody that wants to know. If you've never seen me in a concert, I get down. Mikey, if you're still watching, you know. I'm taking my buddy Dan. I'm like, listen, we're going to get front row for Darkest Hour. I'm like, and if I have to elbow someone in the face, it's going to happen. And I know he understands that, but tomorrow he very well might see it. He said, I wish I didn't have the kiddos and metal horns. Yeah, I'll knock someone the fuck out. I'm a very peaceful guy, but like, there's limits. Oh, what the fuck was that? Wish I didn't have the kiddo. Yeah, man, bring the kiddo. Let's do that. You need to go pro on your head when you go in the pit. I mean, honestly, anymore, I don't even go fully in the pit. I just stand on the outskirts of the pit and stand front row and watch. So I'm like, first or second person back from the wall. And I watch the show, but I turn and I'll look back behind my shoulder and watch the band. And as people fly into me to fucking try to level the front row, you get to catch them, you get to throw them back in pretty hard. Sometimes people are throwing like drop kicks, and at that point, you just knock them the fuck out. You know what I mean? If you're gonna come at me and throw a fucking Chuck Norris roundhouse kick to my face or my chest, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth, and like that's cool. I mean, we were on an equal understanding. You're going to roundhouse kick me. If you get away with it, hey, we're cool. You got one in on me. But if in the process I uppercut you in the face, then cool. We're cool on that too. So it's kind of how I play it. Dude has a rat tail. He'd probably fuck some shit up. Oh, dude, me and Leo would jump in the pit and we would wreck house. I would shield around him so that no one could possibly hurt him, but I'd let him get it in. I'd be like, kick him. Give him a punch. Dude. Oh, dude has a rat tail. Okay, I thought I got another message. It came up twice. That's weird. Throw the odd punch in there. Hell yeah. I mean, no, I don't cheap shot anybody. I mean, that's the thing is, like, I'm standing there. You're coming at me. You fucking throw a roundhouse kick to me, I'm going to fucking body slam you in your face. And like I said, it's an equal understanding. I don't ever, like, take a cheap shot and uppercut someone when they're not looking or anything like that. But, I mean, I will lay someone the fuck out. Mikey B, Was at 2 concerts ago. This dude, I power bombed him. Like, he fucking got slammed, and he jumped up and got nose to nose with me. He's like, "You just hurt me. You just slammed me on my head." He's like, "I didn't like it." And I was like, "What the fuck are you gonna do about it?" I was like, "You say another word, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out." I'm like, "Go ahead, say something. What do you have to say?" And he hurt and left. It was it was one of those moments you had to be there, but it was one of the funniest fucking things. This dude's like, "You hurt me. You you pushed me and I fell on my face. I didn't like it." Like, okay, dude, you're at a metal concert and you just fucking drop kicked me in the ass, so I fucking clotheslined you. I'm not the biggest guy in the room. I'm not the toughest guy in the room by any means, but I am the dude in the room who'll punch you in the mouth if you step out of line. I mean, it's just one of those things. Hey, Tom, I love you, brother. You be safe. You have a wonderful evening. I can't wait to go to New York with you. I can't wait for the car ride. It's going to be a really good time. It's going to be one of those things that you look back on and you're like, man, what a fucking wacko. But it's going to be good. You're going to enjoy it. Yeah, Mike. I mean, honestly, that's why the dude left. He's like, "You hurt me. I don't like it." I'm like, "What are you going to do about it? Like, get the fuck away from me, man. I'm going to hurt you again." Um, and then he left because, yeah, he wasn't having it. We would have wrecked house. "You hurt my feelings." It's like Kermit. "Hey, you hurt my feelings." Okay, dude. Sorry about it. Big Bird's about to kick your fucking ass. Bug noise. Bro, I'm going to play nothing but fucking locust sounds the whole time. It's going to 6 hours to the ride to New York. You're just going to hear locusts. I want you guys to pay attention to the locust. They're coming soon. It's a very special event. On April 8th, we will have a full solar eclipse. It'll be the black opening, the black doorway and gate needed to be open to change a lot of things in this world. And as it opens and comes alive, a lot of things will start to bleed into this world, this reality that we experience. And event after event will start to happen, one of which is going to be the heavenly awakening of locusts that are set to come alive this year. And those locusts will act as soldiers and carry a wave of information across this planet. People hearing this right now are like, "This guy's crazy," but they have no idea the truth of what I speak. The black clouds will fill the sky, and they will carry the whispers of the ancients all across this world. It's a beautiful thing. Can't be stopped. Need to put some water in there. Too much whiskey. I'm starting to feel a little. You know how it goes. I think it's about time to wrap this one up this evening. It went way longer than I wanted it to, but like I said, I didn't feel like going to bed tonight. I'm just not in the mood. It's one of those nights you just want to stay up all night. You get reckless. Excuse me. Laura, thank you for tuning in. You go have a wonderful, safe night. Enjoy yourself. Mikey B. I'll live it up for us tomorrow night, brother. Sorry you can't be there soon. Maybe you can come with me. I think Shep's coming to the decapitated Legion beheaded or decapitated Cataclysm show, May 4th, I think it is. Just talking to him the other day for the first time in years. I think he's coming to it. So if you can come to that, let's get it, brother. Let's go having a good time. You too, man. I love you. Take care, Laura. Thank you for tuning in. Thank care for everybody else that is watching this evening. I love you guys. Be safe. Have a wonderful evening. And I'll catch you, I believe, next week. I forget what the date is, but we'll take a look. Catch you next Thursday night with Porta Potty Beatdown. Puh. Well, it looks like you're missing out, bitch tits. While you're looking for some spirits, I'm going to be fucking elbowing in people in the face. It's going to be a good time. But enjoy yourself. I love you. Everyone have a safe night, and I'll catch you next time on Last Call.